Now, before we jump into things, Carl, we just want to thank you for taking the time out of your schedule to speak with us here at Cage Religion Radio.
No problem. It's my pleasure.
Now, getting started, you're set to take on John Gunderson next Saturday in the main event of Show Fight MMA 20 for the promotion's vacant welterweight title. Gunderson, like yourself, is a UFC veteran, and it seems like you've taken nothing but tough fights since leaving the UFC. Has that sort of been your plan since leaving to almost fast-track your way back?
I mean, you can say that, but at the same time, you have to look at it this way. No one's going. I've never had an easy fight, man. No one's ever gave me easy fights. Look at my record. You know, guys take fights. A week later, they realize they're fighting me, and then they drop out. So this John Gunderson kid, UFC vet, just like me, you're saying. I don't know if you can compare this guy to what I've done in the UFC. I don't even know when he's fought in the UFC. That being said, I'm not underestimating him. I think he's a great fighter. I think he's got a lot of wins under his belt. I think he's a legitimate opponent, and I'm not taking him lightly. I've actually trained for the fight. Physically and mentally, I'm ready for him. But to answer your question, I can maybe it's a fast track to get my contract back and get in the big shows. But at the same time, no easy guy takes me, boss. Anybody that takes me to fight, there has to be some sort of a tough guy. I don't take easy fights, and no one takes me.
Last year, you hit a bit of a rough patch with a 3-fight losing skid, but you took a little bit of time off and rebounded with a win over Thomas Denny that was last March. What changed in those 6 months away that you attribute almost to this new Karo Parisyan that we've seen?
Well, mentally, trying to, stay focused, get back in the gym, get back to your old roots, old habits, good habits, not bad habits, basically try to live the life of an athlete, of a professional athlete, not the life of a party animal, because it's common sense and it's an everyday thing and everybody knows about it, and it'll go on and on throughout life and history and future. You become something, you make some money, you start becoming someone with a name, and then you fall on your head a little bit. It's all part of the package, and you have to learn from your mistakes, So that being said, again, I'm back in the gym. I'm training. I have good training partners. I got guys to push me mentally. It's still a rough time for me, but it's going for the better just because I had a really big win over Thomas Denny. I showed a pretty good improvement in everything in my hands and my takedowns and wherever the fight went. And right now it's going to start again. It's going to be second good showing, God willing, with John Gunderson this coming Saturday. I don't know what this kid's thinking, but, I'm coming for him.
Now, people sometimes forget you actually started competing professionally at the age of 14. Do you feel in a sense that maybe you got burnt out at a point and a break is kind of what you needed all along?
Of course. It's common sense. I've been fighting in professional MMA for 15 years. Eventually, your balloon's going to pop. 14 years old, I was competing against men, 23, 25 years old. All this time, compete, train, you burn out, you physically, mentally burn out. People have to understand, not fucking judge. Because people generally are stupid sometimes, and it's very easy for someone to judge someone. Especially, I never get online, I never read crap, but people tell me sometimes, people that are following about, under your videos on YouTube and the underground forums and stuff, and when people say certain stuff, people always tell me, there's a lot of stupid people in the business, and a lot of stupid fans too, and also a lot of great fans, people that actually understand about the sport. But, time passes by, you have to, it's not an easy thing to do, to fight professionally for 15 years. Train and, eat right, train right. You can't have a certain lifestyle. It's the toughest sport in the world for me, and it's tough to do. So, answer your question, yes, I needed a break, and I still need a break, but I'm trying to take everything one step at a time these days.
I want to rewind here for a second, revisit this. You were suspended in 2009 by the Nevada State Athletic Commission for testing positive for painkillers. But, in the past year, we've seen a handful of fighters serve lesser suspensions for testosterone and other performance-enhancing drugs. When you see things like this unfold, does it bother you that you were punished so harshly?
Of course it does. Of course it fucking does. Why? Is it time to pick out the Armenian guy or the judo guy? I took 2 pain medications, man, with a legitimate prescription. 2 pain meds. So I took a non-enhancement drug and ended up winning the fight and got a $32,000 fine with a 9-month suspension when stupid dumbasses are doing steroids, an enhancement drug which helped them win the fight. It helps their performance in the cage, only common freaking sense. They get away for 5-6 month suspension, $8,000 fine, $10,000 fine. It doesn't make any sense. I can't put it in my head. How do these people look at this? I mean, it's common fucking sense. You can't possibly be that stupid to put together 2 pain medications that it makes you drool, and at the same time, steroids. How do you put them in the same category and make a pain medication a worse thing for your body the day of a fight than steroids? I think the end of the day is it's about, we have to take your money away because you took an enhancement drug. You know, it helped you win the fight. You cheated. Pain medications didn't help me win the fight. It actually made me lose the fight almost, because I was drooling and I was dumb and stupid and I was under pain and I needed to take it from my leg. What do you think? Am I making sense here?
No, I definitely see your point here. It just seems like testosterone and guys testing positive for it are becoming more and more common as of late.
Well, I guess so. I don't know who does it, why they do it. Everybody tries to get that extra edge and stuff. Look at my body, man. Look at me. Do I look like a guy that would use steroids? And the reason why I used my pain meds is because I had a legitimate reason for it. And they punished me. They tried to make an example out of me. It wasn't right. I'm not going to get into much details, man. I'm not going to go lose my head right now, because if I do, I'll do something stupid. But, you know, it was what it was. I have to deal with it, you know. But when time comes, Liebman got popped for it, too. The UFC actually offered him help.
Yeah, that is true.
But you know what? At the time, if I had ever came out and said to Dana or the UFC, I need help, not for a single doubt, they would have said anything but yes, we'll help you. It was the fact that I had to bring it to the last minute to pull out of a fight that hurt them. That was the only reason. So I'm not going to blame anything on Dana or the UFC. It was the commission that screwed me big time up the ass with the 9-month suspension. And I said, please, I only beg God, I'm begging you guys, don't suspend me for 9 months. Suspend me for 6 months. I need to fight. I can't be out of the sport for too long. That's what broke my back. That 9 months was the beginning of the end, as you can tell, as you can see. So I'm trying to crawl out of that fucking hole these assholes made for me. Where is this money going? Huh? I would like to know. $32,000 fine. I'm paying you guys. Where is this money gonna go? Where? In a fund? In your pocket? For your grandkids? Where? That's my hard-earned money. I bled and sweat for that money. Yeah. So I only make sense when I talk.
Another issue I want to touch briefly on, you've had issues in the past with anxiety and panic attacks, even to the point of it physically affecting you, as in the case with your fight with Thiago Alves. Talk a little bit about how you've got that under control lately.
Well, you have to recognize what the hell triggers that anxiety and panic attacks. My entire life did that. My entire life triggered it. Me being born was already enough a trick to have, an anxiety and panic attack. It's chemical imbalance in your brain, stress in life, everything, man. I have it under control to a certain point. If you have that in your head, you're always going to have it. You just have to learn how to deal with it. You have to learn how to, prevent it from happening to a certain point where you have to, run away or go to the hospital. You have to be able to prevent it to a point where you can handle it at home or with somebody around you where you can take it away without medication, because medication only adds fucking fuel to the fire, especially when they give you Xanax or Ativan. Dude, you know how horrible that those meds are? Taking that stuff a week straight, by the second week, when you stop taking it because you feel normal, it kills you. You go through withdrawal of those benzos crap, so it's horrible. The best thing is to keep yourself mentally clean and try to think of the best way to try to, heal yourself without medication, because you're only putting poison in your body.
Now, I want to change gears to maybe a lighter subject here. You were really one of the first high-profile fighters to use judo effectively in MMA. Now we see it being used more commonly, most notably by Ronda Rousey. Do you feel like Ronda's sort of carrying the judo torch, so to speak, and that we may begin to see more up-and-coming fighters begin to incorporate it more in their arsenal?
Listen, let me ask you something. Ronda is a little sister of mine. Okay, she's a little sister. You know how much I've helped that little kid? But let's be honest with you. How many times have you seen Ronda do a throw in a fight? Name. How many times you've seen a throw down by a judo person? Ronda is killing everybody, and I love her for it. But let's talk about specific judo throws, buddy. Many judo guys claimed they're this and that. They walked in the cage, and they actually won fights. But did they use their judo to their advantage? No. They kickboxed. They grappled. You know? They did certain stuff that didn't represent their sport, what their roots are. I did. I walked in the cage and I did what I had to do, which was throw people. What I was known for was the judo. Ronda is doing great, man. She's carrying the torch, just like I'm still somewhat carrying the torch. Ronda's carrying it in a higher level right now. It's like the Strikeforce in the UFC, and I couldn't never be more proud of her. You know, but you know, yes, more people are using it these days. A lot of people are using my throws. Don't forget, man. You know, you give me a question, I'm going to give you the honest answer. A lot of fighters have my book. I mean, I get BJ will send me a text message saying I'm learning so much from your book and your DVDs on, because I'm really good friends with BJ. Frank, the asshole mirror, Uriah Faber. These people have my book. People learn because it's one arsenal in their game that they don't have. How many times can you do a single and a double? Eventually, someone's going to catch up with it. But judo throws, if you learn how to do it efficiently, the way I used to do it, and then the way I do it, it's almost like you're cheating. It's so easy, boss.
That's very well said. And wrapping up here, to look back at some of your previous victories over the likes of Matt Serra, Chris Lytle, Nick Diaz, guys like that, and to see what they've gone on to do in recent years, having already proven to yourself that you're capable of beating those caliber of fighters, how much has that motivated you to almost recapture that old fire in a sense?
A lot. It motivated me a lot because you know you're not the only one that told me this. Friends, family, people, fans, people are like, dude, and at the time, I didn't even consider these guys that tough. I swear to God. Nick Diaz, Chris Lytle, Master, all great champions, great fighters. I mean, I'm not going to tell them about it. You know who they are, and their cards are on the table. They're top guys in the weight class in the world. And even at the time, I didn't really consider these guys that tough. I'll be honest with you. I mean, the only guys I considered tough that I was going to go head-to-head with was Matt, which he was when I tore my hamstring, couldn't fight him. One was St. Pierre, second was Matthews, and to a certain point, it was BJ. That was it. That was the only guys I had my eye on. Nick Diaz, Matt Serra, Chris Lytle, great fighters, but they were like, dude, these are going to be stepping stones for me. I know I can beat these guys. I'm too good for these guys. And I knew that I was so crafty that I would have beaten Matthews and I would have got that title. Just because of course I want to say that. It's me I'm fighting, and obviously I got to put myself up. But reality speaking, bro, I wasn't the only one. I had fighters like Randy Couture that didn't know me personally, that were putting money on me, saying I would put my money on Karo Parisyan. Just because, I'm trained with him or I know his style. Matthews, like Frank Trigg, would tell me, Carl, you'll give him fits, he can't beat you. BJ would say the same thing. St. Pierre was like, Carl has a really good chance to beat him in the first 3 rounds, just because of his throws and his craftiness. So, all that stuff being said, man, I guess, I have a lot of big wins over a lot of good fighters, and it's a big motivation. And I have to be able to bring half of that Karo back if I want to get on that big stage again. And I've been doing that, and I will do it. So, second, I already got that big thing out of the way, which I fought Thomas Denny, and I won a big fight. Thank God. Now it's time for this John Gunderson kid. You might know more about this guy than I do. Who is this guy? How good is this guy? I don't even know. I just know that he's a legitimate competitor.
Yeah, he's competed in the UFC 3 times. This is back around, I want to say late 2009, early 2010. I know in his UFC debut, he lost a decision to Rafael Oliveira. Came back with a decision victory over Mark Holst. And his last UFC fight was September of 2010. He lost to Yves Edwards.
How did he lose? Do you know?
Yeah, he lost a unanimous decision.
Well, okay, whatever. I mean, I think he's I think he's a tough guy. I'm not underestimating him at all, but I don't think he's supposed to be on my level. You understand? If I can't beat John Gunderson, I don't think I belong in the UFC or on a level of the UFC or Strikeforce. You know what I'm talking about. So I got to be able to beat John Gunderson pretty decisively to still make my mark and say, yo, I still belong in the top weight class with the top dogs, because I'm one of the top dogs.
Now, wrapping up here, Karo, we just want to thank you once again for being so candid and really pulling no punches, and for giving us a few minutes of your time this afternoon here on Cage Religion Radio.
Thanks for having me, guys. You know, it's always an honor to have real people behind the end of the line, and I have no reason to lie about anything. I love to do interviews, and you know, like I said, I pull no punches, nothing. Everything I live, everything I lose. I appreciate it. All the true fans, everybody that support me, I love you guys. I'm trying to make my way back. I'll keep keeping you guys eye candy in that cage.